This is FTH 223, hammer-fired pistols, assignment 2. I'm Kenneth Osborne. Today's date is 2/22/225. First thing we always start off with is safety. When we're messing around with weapons, firearms, what have you, always want to talk about safety. And obviously, I've got it disassembled right now. So as you can see, I have no ammunition in my firearm and I have no ammunition around me right now. And I'm also wearing eye protection because when you're working with movable parts, you want to wear eye protection. So always have eye protection around you. And so this right here is an exploded view of what my course provided firearm looks like. I didn't exactly follow the image, but what I did do is I left it broken down by how I took it apart. That way I can kind of keep my sub-assemblies for my frame set up where I can put them right back into order and I don't get them confused. And as you can see, my rail system and everything is broken down here as well. And what I have here is multiple parts, and I have this is the rebound spring for the trigger. And if the rebound spring doesn't work on the trigger, you run the risk of obviously the trigger not resetting itself. This is the trigger. So that was the trigger rebound spring. This is a hammer strut. The hammer strut is designed to help force the hammer forward and hit the firing pin and ultimately firing the projectile. This is a trigger bar guide. The trigger bar guide's job is, and of course, if this doesn't work, it's obviously not going to fire. If the trigger bar doesn't work, it's not going to. Its job is to push the trigger bar in the guide is to push the trigger bar up so it can reset on the sear, which is right here. This is our sear. And if the trigger bar doesn't work, obviously it's not going to reset the sear. The sear is not going to lock the hammer to the rear. We have over here ejector. And if the ejector doesn't work, well, then we're going to have rounds that are still in the chamber, and we run the risk of having a stovepipe. And again, this is our sear. The sear's job is to lock the hammer to the rear. If the sear doesn't do that, obviously we run the risk of the firearm having an accidental discharge. This is the sear housing, which happens to contain this was the extractor. I said it wrong. And this is the ejector. And its job is obviously to force the round out. This is to pull it to the rear and put it in position so it can be knocked out. If the extractor doesn't work, a round's not going to be pulled out. And if the ejector doesn't work, the ejector is not going to be pushed into position where it can be flipped out of the firearm. Some of these sub-assemblies can be dangerous to the operator, and I would say, especially when you're thinking about the ejection piece of it, I would, I'm not positive, but I feel like if a round is ejected and one is not kicked out, well, you run the risk of the projectile being punctured and exploding in the chamber. Now, on the other hand, if the sear is not doing its job and locking the hammer to the rear, and the firearm is cocked, it may just actually fall and strike the firing pin. So at this point, I'm going to actually put everything back together, and then I'm going to go through some more functions, and I'll be right back with you.